Salutations, School Believer. Do you have a dream of becoming an entrepreneur, but don't know where to start or even what to do? Where can I gather information quickly about what's in my zone of genius? Don't worry, School Believers. I got you covered. Go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt and check out an amazing set of AI prompts that will give you ideas, information, and articles to help you get across that start line. Once again, go to tuepodcast.net/AI prompt to get you started now. Good luck, School Believer. Hello there, School Believer. Hey, if you're anything like me, I am just so tired of going from screen to screen to screen, trying to figure out my analytics for all my social medias and trying to figure out where I can put any and all my energies to get as much reach as I can. Well, I think I've finally found the solution. Elementary analytics. That's right, elementary analytics. Now, at a single press of a button, I can see all my social media analytics from Google to Twitter to Facebook, all my important information all on one screen. All on one screen. Can you believe it? And if you really needed to, you could print charts for any possible meetings you might have. If you want to learn more about this amazing program, go to tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial with no credit card needed. That's tuepodcast.net/EA for a 14-day free trial. Try it right now and see what it can do for you.
Hey everyone, my name is Snow, and I'm the host of Seeking Tarot Podcast. The episode you're about to hear, I was a guest of DJ Scoob's Undiscovered Entrepreneur, episode number 37. If you're ready, grab your compass, and let's get started with this adventure.
Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! Hello, Scoob Believers! It's me, DJ Scoob, coming at you on whatever device you happen to be listening on. Okay, so today is a very awesome episode. I've really been looking forward to putting this out, and this is with my friend Snow. Snow is actually a fellow podcaster, and we kind of got started at kind of similar times. So we've been following each other and kind of getting each other's backs and helping each other follow our entrepreneur adventure. And he really goes into a lot of great detail about how to turn an entrepreneurship from podcasting into an actual entrepreneurship. He also has some great resources to start a podcast, and he really goes through some awesome personal information and why he decides to share it and why he decided to turn things into a podcast. So I'm really, really excited to introduce to you my friend, Snow. Salutations, School Believers, and we are here again with another amazing, brand spanking new entrepreneur. Today we're here with my really good friend, Snow. Hi, Snow. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for coming on to Undiscovered Entrepreneur. It's a real honor to have you on my program.
The honor's all mine, really. I've been a fan for a little while, and I love it. I love what you do.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, so I have one really kind of serious question to ask you. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Are you a Scoob Believer?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, I am.
All right.
Do I get a cookie with that?
You get a Scooby snack.
All right.
All right.
That's just as good.
There you go. Thank you so much for being a Scoob Believer. I do really appreciate you. I've actually been following you too, and your podcast, and you're actually one of my best friends. I'm going to be right up front with everybody. He is actually one of my best podcasting friends I have out there. We've been following each other for a long time and giving each other advice and things like that. So And this is really an honor for me. I know you said it's your honor, but this is my honor too to actually have you on my program. So thank you so much. So what I'd like to do is just kind of start you off like I do with everybody else. We get a little bit idea about who you are and what your entrepreneur adventure is, and a little bit about how you got started.
Okay, excellent. So I'm Snow, and my entrepreneur adventure is Seeking Tarot podcast. So what we do is on the podcast, we talk about individual cards and walk our way through the 78 that are there. Part of how that reflects into an entrepreneurial journey is the idea of what kind of product to put out for fans, the seekers out there. So one of the things that a couple different avenues have been exploring, and one of them is the tarot in a box. So what it is it's like you get this box, and it's a gift box. It's like you could do a box subscription if you wanted, or you can just do buy a singular box. But the idea is that when you open it, you get all this information of a physical reading and a neat little gift box. So it's a great idea for birthdays, and it's a great idea for, other people that are just looking for reading in general. The reason I came up with this is because a lot of the time when you hear about somebody doing a tarot card reading, they don't provide anything beyond just the information. And I was like, there's nothing tangible to that. I want to give something to somebody that's getting a reading, especially like if you're doing a year reading, that's a monthly thing. So you're going to have every month. And it's like, how do I keep track of that? So you can go and physically look at the cards, and then there will be an accompanying video to go along with that so that you can go and just watch what is coming next. 12 months. I'm sorry, I can't remember 12 months what my information is going to be. In 6 months, I'm going to be on another track, so.
All right. That's awesome.
Overall, just the podcast adventure itself. So some of that is entrepreneurial, but then it's also going to jump into other things other than just Seeking Tarot. So I want to expand out to a wide market of different types of podcasts.
I just want to say that's an awesome way to have a physical product out there for something that most people wouldn't think about. And you're right. I mean, especially if it's going to be a long-term type of reading. I mean, I forget things by the minute. So it's hard for me to remember what things are going to be, for the month, and that kind of thing. Just to have something physical to look back on, remind myself that, oh yeah, this is what's supposed to be happening, or this is what's going on. It makes a lot of sense. What actually made you start this podcast? I mean, I think we've talked about it a little bit, but I mean, what made you start the podcast and want to do these products and the tarot reading and everything else? What was the catalyst that actually got things going for you?
It's a good question. Me and my best friend at the time had access to the local radio station. So we'd open the doors, go down there and play with the equipment. But, being able to be in radio, I was told I couldn't do it. I wasn't fit for it, and I didn't know why. So that kind of like, I was bothered by that. I was like, I really would love to do a show, that would be my niche, so. And then about 2009, podcasts have been, I think, around since like 2000, 2001, something like that. So about 2009, I was listening to them, but then I just kind of fell off the bandwagon, just like everybody else did with podcasting. It's just like, okay, it's just there, and we forgot about it. But there's been a resurge, so to speak, of people wanting to get into it. And now it's just booming. It's just every day there's more and more podcasters. I love doing it because to me it's exciting. It's not just, it's creativity, and it's being able to connect with other people, but in all kinds of different methods. We're not bound by having to answer to a broadcast system, so I think it's awesome that we can self-distribute like the Wild West, so that to me is really interesting and exciting to get into a journey and see how it plays out, being on the forefront of this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the fact that we don't have to answer to anybody. This is our show, and we don't have to really, follow a specific type of format or anything like that. We make it what we want to make
Right.
it to be. And personally, especially when you're creative, like we are, having that
Yes.
ability to be able to open up and not have to worry so much about fitting that square peg into a circle hole,
Right.
really makes a big difference for how I put things out. I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, some guys out there are like, oh, da, 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 and I'm not like that. I don't like that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're into that, that's great. You go ahead and do that. But I like being able to, I mean, I'm just a guy, but I'm actually able to talk to great people like you and a couple other people that I've talked to, and have people
Yes.
learn from that, have people to learn from me, and have people to learn from Snow or anything like that. So being able to do that without having so many barriers has been just fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so much fun to be able to not be boxed in, but yet be creative and then share what you have to others and for others to share back with you. The exchange of information is absolutely astounding,
Yeah, it really is. And hopefully it doesn't stop anytime soon, because we're just really rolling with it at this
right?
point.
Absolutely.
I know you've only been doing this for a little less than a year, and congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are some of the problems or pitfalls that you've run into the last less than a year that you've been doing this podcasting?
Motivation at times, to be honest with you. I think it was maybe around July, I was hitting full throttle. And then come October, I face planted, I guess is the best way to say it. I put out a couple episodes right around Halloween time. And then after that, a lot of personal stuff happened that contributed to that loss of energy. But that being said, there's a turning point, and I do see that upcoming there will be some better days ahead. But I'd say the pitfalls sometimes come from stupid little things, like internet connections or a failing mic or even a failing mouse. How frustrating is a failing mouse? You can't really do much without a mouse working. I think being able to understand the content and be able to give that out to people in a way that is digestible, which is what my goal is that I want to make it in a way that's relatable. And so even something that small is something that can trip you up. Something a lot of people don't understand is how difficult podcasting is. There's so much to it, and you can go in so many different directions. Yeah, you can grab a mic. Yeah, you can just speak into it. And yeah, you can just post it on Anchor. But a lot of times you'll miss the mark if that's all you're doing.
It's rough sometimes. Motivation, I'm with you on that. Sometimes it can be rough, especially when I come across something so little that can actually put a big dent into what you're doing. I mean, you make a great example, something as small as a mouse that's only, it just seems so small, but it could be just the one thing that puts a kink in the whole deal. So
Yes.
yeah, it can do that to you, and it's demotivating. But I mean, what do you do now? I mean, I followed you through that, and I've talked to you through that a little
Yeah.
bit. So what changes have you made since then to get you remotivated? Can you tell me that?
Actually, one of the things that I'm focusing on, I've been talking to my therapist, and he listens to my show too. And one of the things that he was saying is that I need to get focused on scheduling. So this is really important for entrepreneurs. You can have all the drive in the world and you can have all the idea in the world, but if you don't have a step 1 to step 15, taking that jump will either feel A, scary, or B, impossible, and neither will happen. So one of the things that I've been kind of sitting back and reflecting a little bit is, how do I get from that step to this next step? And so scheduling, something as simple, and this is where I'm kind of at because I hate schedules, is to print out a calendar that I find on Word or something like that, and then take and write in there what I want to accomplish for that day, and then just put a little check mark by it when I'm done. I mean, it depends on the type of motivation, stuff like that. You can get into semantics, and there's all kinds of things you can get into there, but For a simple step, I think that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing to pick up the pieces. Also making sure that my environment is a good playground. So if I've got a good place to play and feel safe, then I'm able to produce what I need to produce. It just comes naturally. But if I'm trying to save my skin, I'm more worried about the food or the tiger that's going to attack me. So
being a product of your surroundings really has a lot to do with your motivation too. I mean, if
absolutely.
your surroundings aren't positive, then it really makes it difficult to have that positive mindset. So like when you're in creative mode, make sure you're in a space which is, like you said, like it's safe, doesn't have so much negative energies around you that kind of are batting in the back of your head. And I got to tell you, if you know anything about me, which I know you do, scheduling is really super important to me because I run two full-time jobs on top of the podcast and on top of coaching that I'm doing now. So it's
I don't know how you do it. Props to you, for real.
I'm still trying to figure it out myself, how I'm pulling all this off. But it's
you
really
do magic, don't you?
Okay. So having a set schedule for yourself, at least you know where you're going and where your next step is and what the next step's going to be when you have things scheduled out correctly. If you have your mind all over the place, then you pretty much accomplish nothing, especially if you're overwhelming yourself with a lot of different projects and things on top of what you're supposed to accomplish. So scheduling these things out and prioritizing things are very, very important when it comes to things like this. So thanks for bringing that up. I really do appreciate that.
I want to just throw in one other thing is that you have been a motivation for me, because there's been a couple of times I've been feeling really down, and it's just like, I can pick myself back up now and I'm not doing it. And so you have motivated me recently to get back into it. And so it's like, okay, the storm's over now. Thank you. So having a good mentor or a cheerleader there for you can make all the difference in the world, in my opinion. So.
Oh, Snow, thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you. I'm not paying him, ladies and gentlemen. I'll send you the check later. Okay. So thank you so much for including me in that. That's very heartwarming. Thank you. So speaking of motivation and people, as you're going along, do you actually have any influences or people that you look up to as you're moving along to keep you motivated in your entrepreneur adventure?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just mentioned you, but outside of that, there's a lot. I don't want to make it like an award ceremony where they're like, and then I want to thank my mom and my great grandmother who I've never met, but honestly, the people that I'm going to school. So the people that are my teachers are incredible. The people at my work are incredible. The people that I encounter on a day-to-day basis encourage and uplift me. My girlfriend, so those people are very pivotal for the now moment. But looking back, as far as mentors go, I would say that my grandpa was influential, hugely influential to my idea of success. I had to write a report recently where they were asking me to define success and mentorship, who your favorite mentor was. And I would have to say it would be my grandpa. And the reason why is that because every time he would tell a story about success, it would be the same story, just packaged differently. And I never really knew what that meant until after he passed away. And in that moment, it was like a light bulb just went on and I figured out what he was saying. I would go up to him and I would take pictures, back in the day when we had rolls for cameras, instead of digital. And so I would take a roll and I would only get one or two pictures out of there that I thought were any good. And I was disappointed because I felt like I lost my ability to get a good picture. And he said, but did you get one good picture out of that roll? And if you did, then that's your success. And I asked him what success was because he was a geology professor of a school. And they asked him to be a dean and he turned it down, just kind of an interesting man. But my favorite story that he used to tell is that he used to like to go fly fishing. And he would say there are two types of fishing. There are good fishing and there are great fishing. good fishing is when you go, great fishing is when you catch something. And so that same ideology of how to accomplish success in the daily practice. And sometimes it's just getting up and doing whatever it is you do.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love your grandfather. That's amazing. He sounds like a great gentleman. I wish he was still around. I could have talked to him. That's so awesome. I had a grandfather that was the same way too. After he retired, he basically lived life, and all he really did was refill fire extinguishers. He actually had a company of refilling fire extinguishers, which is really cool. But he loved it. He had opportunities to do other things, but just for some reason, that's the one thing that he just wanted to do, and that's what it ended up being until he passed away. And it was the same thing with my other grandfather, who refurbished old cars, Model T and Model A, Dodge. I mean, just all these older cars, and he would put them in competitions and things like that. And that's what he did. And I remember that very fondly, because it got to a point where he wouldn't be able to put his hands up because he would have like a heart condition. So I ended up being his hands for him when I was growing up, and I learned a lot about cars and things of that nature. So yeah, and both my grandfathers are just amazing. Having family mentors is amazing. If you have a family mentor, that way you can actually have somebody to talk to, somebody to learn from that's within your realm that you can really relate to. For example, my son, even though he's only 16, he's only 16 right now.
Right.
Yeah. He's the one that helped me come up with my tagline. I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. And ever since then, he's been a real inspiration for me. So, having family mentors is definitely something to look forward to if you can have one.
I love your son's model and that you carry that with you. And the picture in the background, I know that's your daughter did that art, right? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, my daughter did my logo back here of
I love it.
Pug Scooby-Doo and a piano tie, because I have the piano tie. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, right. That's fantastic. I hope you don't mind. I wanted to run with that a little bit with what you were saying about your son. The saying "I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today" is such an incredible and very powerful mantra. I actually use something similar in my own practice, but I can't take away from what your son gave you, and the wisdom that he had. How old was he when he said that?
Believe it or not, he was 6 years old when he said that.
That's incredible. I don't think I was doing anything that profound at 6. But I do something similar, and that is that I have affirmations that I say for myself to encourage and uplift me. So, I love myself, I love all others, and I'm infinitely loved. It's just an idea that when I am loving towards others, I am then their love back. And so I love how you've put in what your son has done.
Well, yeah, it's really the one thing that's kept me going. I mean, there was a time in my life where I wouldn't do things now. I would, I'd wait, I could do it later or something like that, but then I'd forget about it, or the feeling's not there anymore. So having that saying plastered all over my walls and his walls and everything else to be able to motivate myself to do things now while we're thinking about it so we don't forget about it has been a real life changer for me.
That's powerful.
It really is
very powerful.
Yeah, I know you've only been doing this for a little while, but when will you know you've made it? When did you think you've made it to that point where you said, this is exactly where I want to be? This is what I was pushing for this whole time. What does that look like to you? Can you explain that to me?
This was a very difficult question to consider for me, because it's like, I don't know that I will ever have made it. I've heard some of your other guests talk about something similar, and they mentioned something very similar to that it's kind of like a life journey type thing. I wrote this down. I said, I have to remind myself daily that I have made it today. One of my favorite quotes is in the movie The Kingsman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's Ewan McGregor talking to, I don't remember the kid's name, But he said, the test of a true gentleman isn't how he can best another man, but how he can be a better man than he was yesterday, essentially, is how the saying goes. And that was profound. I mean, it's like, okay, how do I find a profound meaning in a silly movie about beating other people up? But I did. It was important to me because I realized that I'm not in a competition with other people. So I'm in a competition with myself. And if I'm doing that every day where I'm getting better, then I am making it.
There you go.
Because for me, the big picture, I can't tell when I've made it. I can't tell. So it has to be a daily, did I get up? Did I get out of bed? Did I go for a walk? Did I get my basic stuff done? Did I brush my teeth? Did I take a shower? Those basic things, those are the make it's. And then when I get those done, then the podcast gets done. So, 1 + 1 equals that end result that I'm looking for. So, yeah.
All right. That's awesome to think about too, is not just having a made it moment that you're going to accomplish over a couple years or so, but a daily made it moment. And just like you said, having those little goals that you could reach every day to say, hey, I've made it to this. Okay, I accomplished this today. That's amazing. And being able to do that is very, very important. And that goes into another thing that you talked about, is that that quote that you said, you really want to compare yourself to yourself. You don't want to compare yourself to other people that are out there right now that are like light years ahead of you, because you'll never make, because they're that far ahead of you. So you're a lot better off. Yeah, you're a lot better off comparing to yourself to what you did yesterday, what you did 2 weeks ago, what you did a month ago, and see that progress that you've made for yourself. So that kind of gives you a springboard into what you can accomplish next.
Absolutely. That's their journey too. Their journey is their own. So if I'm going to compare it to them, well, then I better have some of the things that they have too. So that's not fair for me to do that to myself. I'm just, why? Shooting myself in the foot from the gate,
Right.
Why?
Exactly. Why do that when you can just actually see progress in yourself?
Right. Absolutely.
If you met someone that wants to do a very similar entrepreneur adventure as you, what would you tell them? What advice would you have them? What advice could you give them?
I really like this question. I would tell them that there are a lot of things that they are doing right. I think that the idea is that if somebody's going into the same position as me, my ideology on this goes back to the time management thing. You can look back at all this other stuff and say, well, I should have, could have, probably needed to do it this way, but we can't always fix that. So it goes back also to what your son was saying, that it's all about the forward momentum today. That if I'm going to give advice to somebody that's in the same position as me, wanting to go forward, it's a matter of getting off the couch and doing it. If you want to create something, you have to get your hands dirty. When I did this podcast, this is not my first podcast. Okay, my first podcast, nobody knows about, and I don't want them to know about it because, no. So, yeah, you can look it up if you want. It's Thought Crunchies. I'm sure it's gone now. I don't know what happened to it, but honestly, the thing is that I realized that I had to get my hands dirty and make a lot of mistakes to be able to figure out what works and what doesn't. Because I can learn from other people and that helps, but they can't tell me what my journey is. And I don't want them to. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, your journey is your journey. They're not going to know what you're doing, what steps you've taken, or what you even experienced personally to be able to do what you're doing. We can't guess, I mean, I'm sure we could have a great conversation for about 3 hours and maybe we could come up with something, but yeah, but your journey is your journey. And I mean, and don't worry, mistakes are okay. Mistakes are part of what we do. Mistakes are part of our entrepreneur adventure. You got to be able to take those mistakes and those problems and pitfalls and work with them. And it really, the measure of what you do after those mistakes are what's important. What you do with those mistakes and then how you incorporate that learning into your next entrepreneur venture, or if your life for that matter, really is what makes the man, what makes your purpose. So I'm really
Right.
glad you brought that up. We're going to go into my favorite question now. Now, if you've listened to me, you already know what this is, but you already know that I've kind of stole this from everybody else. So sorry, everybody. But
Okay.
what is the one question you wish I would have asked you, but I didn't? I always miss one really good question that everybody prepares for and never gets to say. So what is that one question for you, Snow?
I really had to think about this one. I actually had the answer when I listened to one of your episodes a while back. I forgot what the answer was. So I came up with a new answer today, but I had a really good answer last time, I swear. But anyway, so today it was, how can I turn my beat downs to step ups?
Ooh, I like that. That's actually really good.
Right?
That's going to really
Yeah,
provide
I
a
was
lot of
like,
great. Yeah, that's good. So why don't you go ahead
how
and
do
answer
I
that?
turn my beat downs to step ups?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the thing is not panicking. It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide. Don't panic
Don't
and bring a
panic.
towel.
Yes. Always
And
bring a
bring a
towel.
towel.
Yeah.
I think the other answer might be maybe look at the tools of success so far. And for me, meditation has been really, really key. It calms the mind and it helps to see a bigger picture when sometimes I don't know what the answers are. So turning inward, meditating, spiritual guidance, but then also, just seeing what has worked and then resting on that. So, and then asking friends and family and support. So, yeah.
There you go. That's a good way to do it. Okay, everybody, make sure you listen to Snow because that was actually a great answer, even though he wasn't sure about it. I really enjoyed that. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Snow.
Thanks.
What I'm going to do here is now we've gotten to the point where I really like talking about goals. So I'd like to know where you see yourself and your podcast and your entrepreneur adventure in the next 6 months.
Yeah. So, an episode or two. Let's see. Next 6 months, when Spotify likes to put out the numbers for what you did, they had a recap and they said I had like 700 minutes for my first year. And I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of information. It's like, how? So having seen what I did, I think the answer is I can't push myself to where I was, but I do need to push myself forward from where I have been the last couple of months. Now that things have settled, and I'm in a flow again, I can probably do I need to make sure I'm having at least one episode a month. There are days that I sit there and I dream up and I wish that I had a backlog of all the episodes that I would have liked to have had done. And then I get ready to go do them. And then I'm like, hey, this on my phone looks like fun. Let's do this. So I get distracted a little bit. I think goal setting and an episode a month are the two, time management, goal setting, episode a month are my two big 6 month goals.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with you in 6 months. Make sure that you're
Okay.
hitting those goals. I want to see at least an episode a month minimum for you.
Okay.
So when I come back, with you, I want to hear about at least 6 episodes or more of your podcast. Yeah. I'm going to throw this at you too. I want to see some progress in those boxes that you were talking about earlier too, that you talked about at the beginning of the podcast. I want to see some progress in that because I really think that it's a fantastic idea, and I really think you need to take advantage of that.
Sounds good. I like that. Thank you for the challenge.
Yep. Well, that's what I do. The time has come. This is your time to shine. I want you to be able to talk about what your entrepreneur adventure is. Advertise yourself any way possible. Give us all the lowdown on how to get a hold of you. So ready, set, go.
Thank you, DJ Scoob. I am Seeking Tarot Podcast, but my name is Snow. I produce and host the show. As I said, I will be probably getting them out once a month coming up. But if you want to go and check it out, there is a backlog up to card 17. We are going to continue to take a walk through what tarot cards are and how they relate to your story. You can also find everything that I do on either Instagram, well, quite a bit of what I do on Instagram or on Twitter. On Instagram, I'm Seeking Tarot Podcast, and you can find it by the same picture that's in the background on YouTube. I think you put this on YouTube, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one is I do have a backlog in Twitter, and that's at Seeking Tarot. You can go to the website, podpage.com/Seeking Tarot. And that's actually one of the best ways to figure out which platform I'm on. So Podpage is a wonderful website, and I love them over there, what they do. So yeah, that's me. Thank you, everybody. My name is Snow. It's short for Snow Leopard, if anybody's curious. It's not a drug reference, I promise.
That's awesome. I also use Podpage. Podpage is amazing. If you want to see what that's about, if you look into the show notes, I do have an affiliate link there. You can see what's going on there. And if that could be something you're interested in for your podcast, I really would like to have you take a look at it. Snow, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on my podcast. And I look forward to seeing what you're coming up with in the next few months, okay?
Okay. I want to have you on my show. And so anybody that wants to check you out should check you out on my show as well, so that we can have you kind of talk about what you feel about the cards. So
that'd be
see
amazing.
What your future holds.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you. Stay tuned for the wrap up. All right. Have a good evening, everybody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was my good friend Snow. Boy, it's really great to see his side of things and what he went through to get his podcast going and the exciting stories that he had about it. And a couple of things I really want to point out here is he really made a big point about having a positive playground to play in, having your surroundings in a great place where you'll be positive. And when you're that positive about things kind of come up to you a little bit easier and much more positive. I mean, I don't know how else to really put it. So I also really love his story about his grandfather and how his grandfather was his mentor, and just the story about just getting that one picture that's perfect. That is definitely your success. And, really think about it. Out of all the pictures, as long as you have one picture that's awesome, you have made a success. Think about that during your entrepreneurial adventure. And I love his mantra that he put together for himself too. So great. I love myself. I love all others. And I am infinitely loved. Oh, it was so great. I'm putting that right up there with I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. Golly, that's just amazing. We're going to get into some house cleaning here and some things I need to go over with you as my audience. So the Brie treat that we were discussing over the last couple of weeks actually was postponed. Unfortunately, the Brie in the Brie treat got snowed in and she was not able to attend the actual stage. So that is going to be postponed until, from what I'm hearing, May. I'll keep you posted on that. But that is still going to be happening, but we're going to stretch some time out there. So hopefully that'll give you a little more time to actually get tickets or make arrangements to where you need to go to actually attend this thing. Anyway, it's still going to happen, y'all. I'm really excited about that. It's going to happen. Also, just so you know, we're really getting close to the coaching podcast. So I'll be putting out real soon. Once again, it's going to be part of a new weekly schedule. So I'm really hoping that'll make a big difference in how you take in my content and learning. And it's all about learning and growing as entrepreneurs. So let's see how that goes. I'm also a part of this new one. I'm also going to have a new outro to go with that. And from what I'm cooking up here for y'all, it's going to be my brother, my younger brother. I do have a younger brother who's 4 years younger than me, but he's really into music. So we're going to see if we can get him involved in this thing. It's going to be a lot of exciting things happening as far as that goes. All right. So just the regular stuff now. If you want to get a hold of me on Twitter at DJ Scoob 2021, that's SKOOB. And my website, if you want to check out any of my sources that I use to run my entrepreneur adventure, uepodcast.net. Look in the resources area. And I'm still putting together that Facebook community. waiting for my first person that I'm going to go one-on-one with as soon as they get in there. And if you want to look that up, you could go under tuepodcast.net/FB Scoob, SKOOB. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and just say this to any of my Patreons that decide to go in with me on my Patreon. I'm going to be saying your guys' name on every podcast from here on out. So with that being said, my one and only Patreon I got right now, I want to thank my Patreon, Brian Briggs from Ocean Tree Creative. You can check him out at Ocean Tree Creative on Twitter. If you need anything that has to do with audio, video, if you want to see his work, look into my YouTube. He's working with me on my YouTube shorts, and any of my little blips I have going on TikTok or on my Instagram Reels or my Facebook Reels. If you want to see his work, that's a great place to go. And if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can at uepodcast2021@gmail.com. Once again, go to my website where you have some great resources there. Once again, uepodcast.net. Make sure that you actually subscribe to my podcast, because I don't want you to miss any of the great information that's going to be coming out, especially when we start going weekly. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. All right, Scuba Believers, thank you for another great show, and you all have a great evening. Thank you. Goodbye. Hello there, DJ Scoob here, and I just want to personally say thank you for listening to my program. I really hope you learned something. Tune in 2 weeks to listen to another brand new entrepreneur. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today.
Adios.
Adios. I think it wants me to say it. Adios. All right. Yes, thank you. Sí, gracias.
Gracias.
Right.
El niño, la niña.
El niño, la niña.
El agua.
El agua, the water. Sí, yo hablo español.
Buenos días. Mucho gusto.
Buenos
días.
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto.
Yeah. All right. Good morning. That would be buenos días.
El niño.
El niño.
No, lo siento.
No. Lo siento.
Siento.
All right.
Buenos días.
And they want me to answer, hola, buenos días. Yeah. Ooh, that was a really good one. We'll zip right through that one. Awesome. As a worker of 2 full-time jobs, running a podcast and coaching, every minute counts in my day-to-day. It's hard to be consistent in any of my social medias. And at this point, I cannot hire a social media manager. Pinnacle AI to the rescue! I've been using Pinnacle AI for a couple of weeks now and seen big improvements in my outreach and consistency in all my social medias. Do you want to save time and increase your productivity too? Go to tuepodcast.net/AI for more information. Save yourself time and grow your brand. Try it now and see what it can do for you.